The Career Framework for University Teaching is a tool to support and inform the career advancement of academics on the basis of their contributions to teaching and learning. It's applicable to all academics, not just those in education-focused roles, such that impact and achievement in teaching and learning plays a meaningful role in academic career progression. It's an open source tool, so it's free to be adopted and adapted by any individual or university in any way they see fit. The Career Framework responds to a recognition that teaching and learning are undervalued in university reward systems. It also responds to some structural barriers to change that have held back reform at many universities across the world. The models by which academics' teaching achievements are awarded in appointment and promotion systems are quite similar across most universities around the world. If you imagine teaching achievement on the horizontal axis and reward for that teaching achievement on the vertical, for most institutions the reward system looks something like this. There's a lower threshold, marked here A, which is the threshold for acceptable teaching, and below that there are often consequences for poor teaching, so perhaps very low student evaluation scores may deny an individual promotion. At the other end of the scale, at point B, there's a threshold for excellence in teaching and learning, so perhaps as an institution, one or two individuals each year might be promoted to full professorship on the basis of national or global excellence in teaching and learning, often for somebody who's working within an education-focused role. But between these two extremes, which often encompasses maybe 95% of teaching and learning activities and 95% of academics, any improved teaching achievement has very little impact on the reward that they receive. While many university leaders recognise this model and are committed to improving the ways in which they reward and recognise teaching, they're often held back from change by two key barriers. The first is the absence of a clear and accepted definition of progressive levels of teaching achievement that punctuate the different stages of the academic career. The second is the inadequacy of the forms of evidence often used to measure teaching achievement, often with an over-reliance on student evaluation scores. In the design of the Career Framework for University Teaching, we sought to tackle these two barriers head-on. And as you can see here, defining 4 progressive levels of teaching achievement that punctuate the stages of the academic career ladder. For each of these 4 levels, the framework addresses 3 key questions. The first is, what is the academic sphere of impact in teaching and learning? And in the framework, teaching achievement is very much defined around their sphere of impact. So at the initial level of the framework, which was called the effective teacher, it's around their impact on the students. On the second level, the skilled and collegial teacher is not only about the students but also about their academic colleagues and the team teaching environment. At the third level there are 2 dimensions. One is impact at the local or institutional level, and another is impact on educational knowledge as applied to practice. And candidates at this level can move on a spectrum between those two, either a blend of both or focusing on one in particular. And at the 4th level, it's about the impact on the national and global educational community. The second question addressed is the promotion criteria that define the academics' achievements in teaching and learning. At the first level, this is about their attitudes and delivery. At the second level, it's about their skills and their collaboration. At the third level, it's about leadership and their impact and legacy within their institution, and or their knowledge, their contribution to pedagogical knowledge, or a blend of those two. And at the 4th level, it's about their national and global influence. The final question addressed by the framework is the forms of evidence that can be used to demonstrate impact in teaching and learning. And we provide a wide range of different sources of evidence that are filtered into 4 broad groups: self-reflection, professional activities, measures of student learning or peer evaluation, And we provide guidance as to, for different candidates with different skills and areas of interest, there's a blend of different kinds of evidence that can be used to demonstrate achievement. But what we recommend is that candidates should use a blend of self-reflection and professional activities which speak to their approach in teaching and learning, and measures of student learning and peer evaluation that speak to their impact in teaching and learning. Information on these promotion criteria and evidence sources are available on the Teaching Framework website. A critical part of the framework development was collaboration, working with universities across the world to pilot the draft framework and to provide feedback on how it could be improved. We also worked with an advisory group of experts from across the world in teaching and learning to guide the development and design of the framework. One member of the advisory group was Laurie Breslow of MIT. I asked her to describe the major benefits of the career framework.
I think there are two. I think, first of all, that there are rigorous milestones that one needs to meet in order to advance. We all know what those milestones are if you're building a career around research. I think we have not had that for your educational work. And I think it's important to realize that the milestones are not only that you're a good teacher in the classroom, but that you have made significant contributions to the educational work, both domestically in whatever country you're in and internationally. So I think that's the first, is setting a rigorous framework in place. The second is that it has brought people from around the world together to understand how one could advance through their educational work. Universities, because they're made up of human beings, are very competitive, and they're looking at what others are doing. So the fact that we can come together and say, oh, you're doing that? Well, then I should go back to my institution and tell them that you're doing that, is another big contribution of the framework.